Just give me 24 hours to come up with a brilliant idea to save our town. Just 24 hours. That's all I ask.
No!
You do it for Randolph Scott.
Randolph Scott.
Largely forgotten by modern audiences, Randolph Scott was a true blue king of the Cowboys, at least in the eyes of his own legion of fans. Hi, I'm movie man Eric Houston, and while never as popular as singing cowboys Gene Autry and Roy Rogers, Randolph Scott was nevertheless a potent and reliable Western star. I think it's worth noting here that despite their immense popularity, Autry and Rogers were both decidedly B-picture stars. Now, the term B-picture has gained sort of a bad reputation in modern times, with many people saying that the B stands for bad, but that simply isn't the case. You see, at this time, a typical night at the movies consisted of 2 feature-length movies, alongside some cartoons, newsreels, and short subjects. The main or headlining movie of the evening was the A picture. The second movie was the B picture. A pictures had A budgets and A stars, that is, bigger budgets and bigger stars. These were the movies that people came to see. B pictures were cheaper and had less famous stars and were commonly what we now call genre pictures: horror, western, crime, things like that. B pictures were also known as programmers because they existed to fill out a program of films. The vast majority of westerns were B pictures, and Republic Studios, the home of Autry and Rogers, specialized in making B pictures. But even the major studios who made A pictures often had special departments tasked with making their own B pictures. One of those studios was Paramount, and Paramount was home to one of the kings of the B Western, Randolph Scott.
Hello.
I saw your fire.
Glad you did. I'll be through in a minute.
Do you shave every day?
Every other day.
What for?
Just a habit, I guess. Why?
I'd have thought you was kind of soft if I didn't see the strength in your arms.
Less flashy and certainly less musical than Autry or Rogers, actor Randolph Scott was nonetheless perhaps the most prolific and well-regarded star of straightforward Western films throughout the 30s, starring in some 60 Western films. Largely forgotten now, the 6'2" Scott epitomized high-in-the-saddle heroism in a mode more William Hart than Tom Mix. Scott learned to shoot and ride horses as a soldier in World War I, making him one of the few Western stars with experience that wasn't merely ginned up by the Hollywood press. He came to Hollywood in 1927, playing bit parts in movies while gaining acting experience on the stage. Before long, he secured a contract with Paramount, who tried him out first in a romantic film before casting him as the lead in the Zane Grey adaptation, Heritage of the Desert.
If you leave that chair while I can still see you.
I ain't leaving chairs when guns are pointed my way.
Come on, Judy, we're getting out of here.
Drop that gun. Lefty, I've got to apologize to you. Wait, Jim, here. Wait a minute, Lefty. You're going to take a little trip. Get a couple of horses and put them out in front. Ed, cover the window. Here's another message for Nab. Give it to Lefty. Come on.
Reach high, boys.
That film was popular enough that Paramount cast Scott in a whole series of films based on the books of Zane Grey. Like many westerns of the time, Paramount wanted to make these films as inexpensively as possible. Since many of these stories had already been made as silent films, Paramount frequently reused footage from the earlier silent version. The studio even cast some actors to reprise their roles from the silent versions. Their thinking was that this would help the reused footage cut together better, even though it would mean that actors like Noah Beery would sometimes appear to grow 8 to 10 years older between scenes. Scott himself was even forced to dye his hair or grow a mustache so he might more easily match the stars of those earlier silent versions, allowing the studio to reuse wide shots and action sequences. Eventually, Scott's popularity and reliability landed him in a number of A pictures, some of them westerns, alongside big stars like Shirley Temple, Mae West, and even Cary Grant.
Oh, Bill, this is Mr. Sheffield. Mr. Fadden, my fiancé.
Mr. Fadden, my congratulations. Thank you. May I finish this dance? Certainly. Hey.
After their first film together, Grant and Scott became close, and the two lived together for almost 15 years. Scott was still not an A-level leading man, though, and while he headlined B-westerns, he was typically the third or even fourth billed star in an A-level western like 1939's Jesse James. As Scott aged, so too did the types of characters he played. On screen, he became gruffer and more grounded. Still the hero, but one with a little more dirt on his costume. These so-called good-bad man roles earned him favorable comparisons to William S. Hart, such as in this picture, Western Union.
Well, I see you're clearing out.
Yeah, for good.
After I go, there's a favor I want you to do for me. A favor? For you? Tell Mr. Creighton Jack Slade's my brother. Your brother? I wanted to tell him myself, but when a fellow's your own brother, there ain't much you can say. I'm going into Elko on a little business. Tell Mr. Creighton not to worry. Jack Slade won't bother Western Union anymore.
Scott's film career took a back seat during World War II. Declared 4F because of a bad back, Scott nonetheless devoted himself to food drives, hospital visits, and to USO performances, where he often appeared alongside future stooge Joe DeRita. After the war, Scott began to appear in westerns almost exclusively, some of them even A pictures, for which he finally achieved top billing. He now played characters both brave and somber in movies like Abilene Town and Ride the High Country.
We've had enough trouble. It's over now. Where's Cap? Where's Riker? Riker's dead, and so is your part of Abilene. All that's left of it is the trail back. Boys, this is the way a tough street dies. Not with a roar, but with a whine. You don't want to die here with it. The tame are taking over Abilene, and they're tougher than you think. Better ride, boys. Now's our chance. Drive him out of town. Get him, boys. Get back. The fight's over. Let him ride out of town.
While Scott enjoyed his fair share of popularity and starring roles in several memorable westerns, there can be no argument that his star was constantly overshadowed by his contemporary and the final king of the Cowboys, John Wayne. I'll be back next time with a look at Wayne's long career in Part 3 of King of the Cowboys. Until then, stay safe, watch movies.
Who's going to stand with you when the shooting starts? The merchants? The homesteaders? Oh, you'll be so lonely on that street you'll look like a duck in a shooting gallery.
The tame always win, Rita. This place will fall around your lovely ears, dollar by dollar, dime by dime.
Get out of here before I kill you. And I don't mean half kill you. This is my property, paid for with my money. And if you ever set foot inside this room again, I'll beat your brains out, you brainless idiot.